Matching outfits, extravagant birthdays, many nicknames, few classic moves of a dog-obsessed parent. And at Ollie, they're obsessed with how obsessed you are with your pup, which is why they obsess over giving your dog the best. Ollie's fresh human-grade recipes are developed by real chefs and backed by vet nutritionists. The meals are perfectly proportioned and come with a puptainer and a scoop for easy storing and mess-free serving, delivering the best experience for you and your pup. And through the Ollie app, you can actually check in on your dog's health with real vets. By uploading a picture, their team can check your dog's weight, digestion, teeth, and coat. They'll then provide next steps on how to keep them thriving. And because they're just as obsessed as you are, there's zero judgment if you check in every day. You could say Ollie feeds the obsession. Go to ollie.com/truecrime and use the code TRUECRIME to get 60% off your welcome kit. Ollie, feed the obsession.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save some money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could be hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
A couple in Virginia wanted to hire an au pair to watch their 3.5-year-old daughter, Valerie. 38-year-old Brendan Banfield and his wife, 37-year-old Christine Banfield, had a busy life. Christine was a registered nurse, and Brendan was an IRS investigator. They had been together their entire adult lives. The Banfields had met at age 18 and were now nearing their 20th wedding anniversary. The Banfields found the right candidate, 21-year-old Juliana Perez Magalhães, who traveled from Brazil to live with the family in Virginia. They paid her $200 a week. Juliana arrived in October 2021 and stayed on the job for a year. Everything went so smoothly, she then signed on for a second year.
What was your life like with them?
With the family?
Yeah, when you first got there, what was it like?
It was kind of a period for me to adapt to the family, to my job, to the country. But I was very welcome, I guess.
And what was Brendan like when you first came to live with the family and be their au pair?
We barely spoke. Like, my relationship was mostly with Christine and Valerie. Brendan and I barely spoke at all.
Then things changed. Juliana and Brendan began having a secret affair in August 2022.
Initially, it was just sex when Christine was at work or asleep, but eventually it developed into a relationship. They went on dates. They went to bars, clubs, dancing. They went on romantic bike rides. By the fall of 2022, they were fully in love, planning their future.
According to Juliana, she initially didn't think their relationship was that serious. But Brendan started talking about a plan and about being with her long term.
Did he ever talk about the two of you getting married or the two of you having children?
Yes.
And do you recall when that talk began?
Also, after he mentioned his plan.
Did he ever talk about his relationship with his wife, Christine Banfield?
Sometimes it would come up in our conversation and he would talk about it.
And what did he say?
He used to say that she didn't seem to care about where he was, what he was doing. She didn't seem to care about him at all. And that she was helpless and just lazy.
Brendan told her divorcing Christine wasn't an option, however.
Did he say why?
Money was involved.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Money.
Okay. Anything else?
Money was involved in Valerie's custody too.
And what about those things? Did he say anything specifically about money or Valerie's custody?
Yeah, he said that he didn't want to have share Valerie with Christine, that she wasn't good for Valerie. So he wanted to have Valerie full time. And money, because she should have more money than he would. if they ever split.
Juliana said Brendan didn't want to get a divorce, but he did have a plan.
Did he tell you what he wanted to do?
Yes.
What did he say?
He mentioned his plan to get rid of her.
She said Brendan's plan was to get rid of his wife, Christine. This is Jillian in partnership with Law and Crime. You are listening to Court Junkie. Sometimes trying to improve your sleep can be a little overwhelming. You try to switch pillows, maybe you try some new supplements, get that latest new gadget that promises a better sleep score. All things that are more trial and error than anything. But really, in my opinion, the fastest, simplest way to upgrade your sleep is replacing your sheets. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are made from the finest 100% organic cotton and instantly make your bed feel more comfortable, breathable, and inviting. They're buttery soft from the start, get softer over time, and help you relax the moment you lie down. We have their signature sheets, and we also have their waffle blanket, which is light, perfectly soft, and like the sheets, gets even softer after every wash. And it's not just in my head. My Oura Ring even tells me that I've been sleeping better, and I think that's thanks to Boll & Branch. Upgrade your sleep during Boll & Branch's annual spring event. Take off 20% site-wide plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com/court with the code COURT. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/court, code COURT to unlock 20% off. Exclusions apply. See site for details. Court Junkie is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game, shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. Juliana Perez Magalhaes testified that Brendan Banfield brought up the idea in October 2022. As for how he was going to do it, she said she wasn't sure. He told Juliana he would figure it out and come up with the details. Juliana told the court that she thought he was joking. She couldn't believe it. But Brendan was serious. She said he didn't let the idea go, and he plotted how to commit murder. He wouldn't hire a hitman. Police would figure it out. He would get caught. And so he came up with what he thought was a foolproof plan, something truly shocking. Fast forward a couple years, and Brendan's former lover was testifying for the prosecution under a plea deal. And what she told the jury sounded like something out of a horror movie. She said that in January 2023, Brendan discovered a website, FetLife.com, for people with sexual fetishes like bondage, discipline, dominance and submission, and sadomasochism. According to Juliana, Brendan created a fake profile for Christine. Anastasia 9 was the account name. Anastasia 9's profile picture was of Christine in a one-piece bathing suit. He began messaging men, pretending to be Christine. It was a catfish scheme where someone pretends to be someone else on the internet.
He said we would be able to find somebody that plays like aggressive or that like playing with blood and that kind of stuff.
And why? What was the what if any reason did he want to find someone like that for?
Oh, because the person would be eventually the person would be invited to come to the house, and he needed to know that the person was willing or he was going to do what he had in his mind.
And what was he using FetLife to ask other users to do to the Anastasia profile?
Things like pinning her down, gagging her, spanking.
Juliana testified that Brendan was intentional and anticipated an investigation someday. He only used the computer and went on FetLife.com when Christine was home. He would then try and give himself an alibi to cover his tracks, and so it looked like it was always Christine who was messaging from the FetLife account. To her suitors on FetLife, Anastasia 9 wasn't interested in meeting up for a coffee date, or getting to know someone better, or meeting somewhere in public first. Anastasia 9 didn't seem to want to move slowly or to set up any boundaries. Instead, Anastasia 9 wanted to jump right into a rape fantasy with her online partner.
So this is the third time that we've seen FetLife users saying, let's meet someplace, let's meet in public. And this person says, essentially, I've been doing this a while, and usually we don't get to that part until the second or third time we meet. So why is it important why is it significant why is it again that that the Anastasia profile keeps refusing to meet in public?
Because of the plan I had in mind, that would need to happen in the house. The person would need to come over, bring their stuff. And because it was not real, it was not Christine talking. So there was no way going out on a date to first meet the person.
A user named Taco Supreme 7000 was interested in Anastasia 9's frank requirements. Joe Ryan was 38 years old. He had begun writing to Anastasia 9, unaware that he was falling into a trap. According to prosecutors, Joe was fully on board and seemed to be the, quote, perfect willing victim.
Brendan created the narrative that Christine desperately wanted to be raped. Posing as Christine, he told Joe what to do. Come to the home in Reston. The door will be unlocked. Christine will be asleep in bed. Come straight upstairs, cut off her clothing, tie her, rape her. Simple and fun. That was how it was posed. Joe was willing to follow these rules that Brendan set out posing as Christine. They would not meet in person beforehand. Joe's phones would be left in the car. Joe was to bring a knife, zip ties, chains, and most importantly, he was not to stop. Even if she looked terrified, even if she was calling for help, he was to follow through because that's what she really wanted.
According to Juliana, Brendan created an account on Telegram, a messaging platform, to text Joe as Anastasia 9. Joe also spoke on the phone with the woman he thought was Anastasia 9. It was really Juliana. Joe was surprised by Juliana's accent. I'm looking forward to Friday, Joe wrote, as they had picked on a date for their meeting. Friday, February 24th, 2023. The preparations were underway. Brendan took Juliana to a shooting range to practice shooting handguns. Joe sent over a picture of the knife he was going to bring. He bought lubricant. Anastasia 9 warned she had a dog, but she would keep him in the basement. Juliana testified that Brendan and Juliana then traded in their iPhones to get rid of them.
And why did you do that? Why was it necessary to get a new phone?
Because he told me to get rid of my other phone where it had her pictures and other stuff, and because even if I reset my phone, it was to be able to see the things I had before.
And what about your Apple ID? Did you keep the same Apple ID?
No.
Why did you change Apple IDs?
Because they also said that it would be able to see through my Apple ID the things I had on my phone before.
Juliana testified that Brendan installed new windows in the house to match the description he had given Joe. She said the windows needed to be more soundproof so no one could hear any screaming from the primary bedroom. Brendan then started leaving for work earlier to get breakfast. He wanted to subtly change his normal routine. Juliana parked her car in the cul-de-sac the night before, just in case Joe drove by to scout out the place. Brendan and Juliana didn't want to scare him away. Brendan then drove around, checking to see which neighbors had Ring security cameras in their neighborhood. Finally, February 24th arrived. On the morning of February 24th, 2023, Christine, Brendan, and Juliana all headed in different directions. Brendan appeared to be going to the office. He left first. Christine stayed home. Brendan had convinced her not to go into work. Juliana and the couple's daughter, Valerie, left early for the Washington, D.C. Zoo.
What, if anything, did he give you in that morning before the two of you left?
Gun.
What kind of gun?
Handgun.
And what did you do with that?
I put it in my pocket, in my sweater.
The plan had all come together. Joe Ryan, expecting a sexual encounter with the woman he met online, was on his way to Christine's house, and her front door was unlocked. Brendan drove to McDonald's, exactly 6 minutes from the house. He had already clocked it. He waited for Juliana's phone call. Juliana waited in the car parked in the cul-de-sac and scouted for Joe to pull up in the driveway. Valerie was distracted watching her iPad. Juliana's ruse was that she would forget their lunches for the zoo. She would then go back to the house, see a strange man, and alert her employers. When Juliana saw Joe's car pull up, she called Christine's phone, which had intentionally been turned off so it would go to voicemail. But that way, there would be a recording of an incoming phone call later for investigators to see. Then Juliana called Brendan, which was according to the plan.
I called Brendan, and then he picked up the phone, and I was telling him just the way he had said, and like there is somebody strange. I never come to the house. I'm scared, and he told me he would, for me to stay there. He would be coming home, and that he would try to also call Christine.
Juliana watched Joe go into the house. He left his cell phone in his car, just like he had been instructed to. It felt like forever for Brendan to arrive. When Brendan came back, he parked by the mailbox and crossed the street. Juliana got Valerie out of the car. They went around to the back, to the basement. Then they went through the back door. Brendan told Juliana to stay with Valerie in the basement. He went upstairs on his own. Minutes passed. Juliana instructed Valerie to stay in the basement, and she ventured upstairs, again according to the plan. When she got upstairs, there was Brendan standing at the bottom of the upstairs, leading up to the second floor. He was listening. He gestured at Juliana to be quiet and listen.
The sound was like slapping. That's when I'm slapping somebody. That's the sound we could hear.
And what, if anything, happened after that?
I think we were listening to that sound for a few seconds, and he took his gun out. And because I also had the gun with me, I just did the same. And he proceeded to go upstairs, and I just followed him upstairs to the master bedroom.
Who opened the bedroom door?
Brendan?
Did you go inside the bedroom?
Yes.
And what did you see when you went inside the bedroom?
When we first get into the bedroom, I could see that the bed we have in the master bedroom was kind of tall. And so from my point of view, all I could see was like Joe. At the moment I knew it was Joe, like on top of Christine, in a way, I'll describe holding her down. And that was my first view as soon as I get into the bedroom.
Were you able to tell, were you able to see Christine at all at that point?
At that point, no.
Did anyone say anything when the two of you went into the bedroom?
Yeah, when I got to the bedroom, Brendan said, she yelled, "Police officer." And Christine's first reaction, that was the first time I heard she say anything at that point. And she yelled back at Brendan, saying, "Brendan, he has a knife." And yeah, that's when Brendan first shot Joe.
Did you see Joe before he was shot?
Yeah.
What did he look like when he saw Brendan?
Shocked.
After Brendan shot Joe, did anyone say anything?
If anyone said anything?
Yeah, did anyone say anything in the room at that point?
Yeah, because Brendan ran to Christine. She was still on the floor, and I think that point she had seen me, and she said she had asked what you do to Brendan. I think regarding to that he shot Joe, and she said my name. She told me, "Juliana, call 911."
And what did you do?
I called 911.
And what happened after you called 911?
At that point, Joe was already shot, so that's the sound in the background. And Brennan looks at me and just, in a way, for me, like to hang up the call.
Did he tell you? Did he say, "Juliana, hang up the call"?
No, he did not.
How did he communicate to you?
A gesture.
She demonstrated a cut-it-off motion to the jury.
And so what did you do after he made that gesture?
I hung up the phone, the phone call.
What, if anything, happened next?
Next, he was on top of Christine. Joe was laying there, and for me to grab a towel from the master bathroom. We have the closet, and I just ran to the master bathroom and grabbed him a towel and to bring it to him.
And at this point in time, could you see Christine?
Yes.
What did you see Brendan do next?
When I was bringing him the towel, he got on top of her, and that's when I first saw him stab her with a knife.
Where on her body was he stabbing her?
Her neck.
And were you able to see whether or not he stabbed her one time or more than one time?
When I first saw that happening, I ran to the other side of the bed, and I was just crouching down on myself and covering my ears and covering my eyes. And a few times I looked And I was able to see him stabbing her, and he would stab, and other times he would hold the knife in a position how that was.
You said he was holding the knife in a position.
Yeah.
How was he holding it?
This position, I think, when the way he stabbed, he was just kind of like holding it, putting pressure on it.
And was he just holding on to the knife at that point, or was he still stabbing her?
I was holding on to the knife.
Did you stab Christine at all?
I did not.
Did you touch Christine at all at this point?
No.
Did you get any blood on you?
I did.
And how did you get blood on you?
The blood on my hands, I remember, because at some point when he was stabbing her, I was kneeling, like she was here, and Brenda was like stabbing her, and I came closer, and it was right here, and I knelt on the carpet, and I had put my hands on the carpet, and as soon as I felt blood, I just removed my hands from the carpet.
Why? What did the blood feel like?
It was warm.
Juliana said she paced back and forth, covering her eyes and her ears to tune everything out. She testified that she was freaking out. She said she even had blood on her shoes and on her socks. She took them off. Then she went to the safe, just like Brendan had told her to do. When she came back to the primary bedroom, even in her panic, she noticed something. Movement. Joe wasn't dead. Juliana alerted Brendan.
He doesn't have any reaction to that whatsoever. And I just start telling him, he's moving, he's behind you. And that's when I fired the shot too.
That's when could you say that again?
I fired.
And when you say you fired what?
A gun.
The gun that was where?
In my, that I had in my pocket, the handgun.
Did you hit anyone?
Yes.
Who'd you hit?
Joe.
According to Juliana, the next step of the plan was to orchestrate the cover-up. She said Brendan took Christine's blood and dripped it on Joe's body. Juliana then called 911 again to report that Christine had been stabbed and that the intruder was shot. Brendan jumped on the call too. Their story: Juliana had come home to get her forgotten lunch, saw an intruder, and called Brendan. Brendan then came home and found a man attacking his wife. Brendan shot and killed the man, but it was too late. The man had stabbed Christine. As investigators tried to piece together what had happened, both Juliana and Brendan were considered persons of interest. We know what the husband told us, Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis said just days later, according to the Washington Post. But we have a lot of work to do to substantiate that claim, or to otherwise identify the person responsible for that crime. We're not in the speculation business. We have to gather facts. Meanwhile, Brendan and Juliana's romance heated up. Juliana moved into the house with him. She began sleeping in the primary bedroom, Christine's old room, and helped raise Christine and Brendan's daughter. She hung a Brazilian flag at the home and changed the pictures in the frames to make the bedroom hers. A photo that had been there of Christine and Brendan was gone. In its place, as investigators worked to figure out who really killed Christine, was a new photo of Brendan and the much younger Juliana. There are two things in my wardrobe that I have been wearing a lot lately. One is my brown cashmere sweater from Quince, and the other is my navy blue puffer jacket from Quince. Quince makes high-quality wardrobe staples using premium fabrics like 100% European linen, 100% silk, and organic cotton poplin. As we transition into spring, lightweight cotton cashmere sweaters are perfect for the changing seasons, and they have so many seasonal colors and prints to choose from. Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen. You're not paying for brand markup or fancy retail stores, just quality clothing. Everything Quince makes is built to hold up season after season. The stitching, the fit, the fabrics, these are pieces you'll reach for over and over. The cashmere sweater I have is pretty new, but I've been wearing it for months now, and my jacket is going on its third season, I think, and it still looks and feels brand new. Quince clothing is consistently rated 4.5 to 5 stars by thousands of customers. Real people wearing these pieces every day and actually loving them. Right now, go to quince.com/court for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada, too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/court for free shipping and 365-day returns. quince.com/court. I always tell myself that I'm going to get better at meal planning. But then before I know it, the weekend is over and the crazy busy week is about to begin. But what finally clicked for me is that some nights I have more time than others. Some nights I can actually cook a meal. Other nights I just need something to heat up or we just need dinner fast. Those nights are mainly when my daughter has soccer, Girl Scouts, now softball. And that's why Marley Spoon works really well for us. They actually adapt with you and have options for all of it so that meals fit your schedule and not the other way around. And it still helps us eat well. Everything is chef-designed, made with quality ingredients, and balanced enough to feel good about. Marley Spoon has a wide range of ready-to-cook, prepared meals, and ready-to-eat options, as well as market items to help you stock up on snacks and beverages for the between-meal moments. And Marley Spoon understands that we all eat differently. Our tastes, preferences, interests, culinary or dietary, are always covered. Their meal selection is always evolving with fresh updates, offering something for everyone and letting you personalize every order. One of our recent Marley Spoon meals was Martha's Best Chicken and Lemon Butter Orzo. It was a one skillet meal that tasted like I had put way more time and effort into it than I actually did. What I love about Marley Spoon is how ridiculously easy it is and how no matter which type of meal you choose, it tastes like you just made everything from scratch. So if you too are hungry, now after hearing all of this, head on over to marleyspoon.com/offer/court for 45% off your first order and free delivery. That's right, 45% off your first order and free delivery. That's marleyspoon.com/offer/court. Christine Banfield was remembered as a loving and doting mom. According to the Washington Post, she was active and often set up playdates for her daughter with other kids in the neighborhood. Just before her death, she had even been organizing a bike ride for the smallest kids. On the TV show 2020, Christine's closest friends described her as a devoted nurse who stepped in to care for sick patients during the COVID-19 pandemic. She was the kind of person who always took care of others. She sounded fun and goofy in one clip that aired on the show when she sang her favorite Backstreet Boys song. Her family said in a media statement, Christine was an honest, faithful, caring, compassionate, helpful person who was dedicated to her family, friends, and patients. She loved her family deeply and was devoted to her marriage. There was also something else important to note about Christine's health that prosecutors later said disproved that she would have ever recruited a stranger for rough sex. Christine had dealt with a blood clotting condition since childhood. Her father testified that as a kid, she experienced bad bruising and bloody noses that were frequent and hard to stop, and that worried the pediatrician. As a result, Christine had to be careful. She wore a helmet, knee pads, and hand pads when she rode her bike.
To your knowledge, did she continue to have these issues as an adult?
Yes.
And what, if any, precautions did she have to take as an adult?
Well, she always had to be cautious and not take any contact sports, anything that would prolong any kind of injury, internal or excessive bleeding, would cause a problem.
As for Joe Ryan, his loved ones described him as a caregiver to his family and someone who had a soft spot for helping animals. He took care of his mom when she got diagnosed with cancer. He watched over his grandfather after his stroke. His grandparents were very important to him since they had raised him after Joe's mom had given birth to him as a teenager. His aunt remembered Joe in court.
As a young child, Joe, who we call Joey, was fun-loving and loved from the beginning. He was inquisitive, curious, smart, charming, and so dang talkative. Joe approached strangers and passerbyers with random and nerdy questions about Transformers and movie characters and the Legend of Zelda video game characters and who would win in a battle between this person and this person, and he respectfully waited the answers, whether you knew them or not. As he grew into adulthood, Joe's hobbies included building or painting anything that used his fine motor skills. He loved martial arts. He had a great love and respect for our environment, animals, especially mistreated, neglected, and ugly dogs. And he rescued many injured and less loved dogs, bringing them across the country in his travels safely home to the home he shared with his grandmother. Joe cared for people, he cared for animals, and Joe didn't hurt people.
In October 2023, 8 months after the murders of Christine Banfield and Joe Ryan, Juliana Perez Magalhaes was arrested. Brendan's mom paid for her attorney. At one point, Juliana wrote a letter to Brendan's mom, vowing not to cooperate with the prosecution. She was steadfast and stood by Brendan. "I'd give my life for his. I would never do anything to hurt him or against him," Juliana wrote to her. "I would take the blame for both of us." But nearly a year later, in September 2024, Brendan was arrested and charged in the murders. Juliana was going to plead guilty and turn against him. When asked why it took so long to tell the truth, Juliana testified that she was dependent on Brendan's mom, who had moved into the Banfields' home. She said she was scared of not having any legal representation and of losing contact with her family back in Brazil. Brendan's mom put money into her account so Juliana could call her family.
So what ultimately made you decide that you were going to enter this plea?
Was the thought of being the right thing to do. I guess we all deserved to know what happened, and I just couldn't hold it. I just couldn't give it to myself, the feeling of shame and guilt and sadness and all those feelings.
And so you decided to enter a plea. What made you decide to cooperate and testify against the defendant in this case?
Well, I got the plea because it was also the right thing to do, and sorry, and also because I had a potential of getting less time.
Juliana pleaded guilty to manslaughter that carried a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Everything you just heard, that was Juliana testifying at Brendan's trial before her own sentencing. She testified for 2 days. She spoke matter-of-factly, only occasionally getting emotional as she spoke in English, her second language. After she signed the plea deal, Brendan and his family cut her off. Juliana faced cross-examination from Brendan's attorney, who pushed her to remember the details of how she and Brendan created the profile on the fetish website. Who wrote which message? Where was it written? How did they sneak Christine's laptop out of her backpack when she came home from work? Juliana claimed her brain blocked out many of the details.
So your brain's blocked out the details of this plan that
Judge,
you've talked about?
objection. That is not what she said.
I'll overrule. I didn't hear the question.
So your brain has blocked out the details of this plan that essentially your whole future rests on with the Commonwealth?
I still don't understand your question. What are you implying?
Your lack of detail is because of your brain blocking it out?
Yes.
Okay. And even included in the things that are important, like this plan that you've been talking about, but we haven't heard any details.
Well, I can tell you that the fact that I not remember some specific details does not mean it's a lie. I can guarantee that everybody has things in life that they did not remember. And it doesn't make any less.
I appreciate that. We're talking about you, though, and what
I'm
you
talking
say,
about me, too.
But if you can just give me a chance to question, what you're saying is that you're forgetting crucial details regarding a horrific, tragic event for many people here.
Yeah.
And you're not able to remember those details.
Well, I think you can also call it trauma.
Okay.
For things you've seen, for things that happened that your brain blocks out.
Okay.
Yes.
So your brain's blocking it. You've got trauma that's blocking it. What else? What are the other reasons you're not able to explain details relating to this case?
What do you mean other reasons?
What other reasons? I mean, you seem to have two at least. What are the other reasons?
Oh, I cannot remember some details.
Okay.
He asked her what the discussion was, leading up to opening up a fake Gmail account in Christine's name. This was the email they used for the FetLife account.
I'm still confused about her question too. I already said the email was part of the plan because she had many different ones and he created a new one. And I'm lost as to the rest of your question.
So
I'm not.
My question is, and let me just see if I can say it in a different way. You start an email account. You first have to decide what email. If you're doing it by yourself, you decide for yourself. If you're doing it with someone else, you talk about it.
Yeah.
You make a plan. What was the plan for this email account?
Well, not necessarily. If I'm not the one responsible to having all the plan in my head, I'm not going to be the one responsible for thinking about what's going to be. I'm not responsible for that.
So what are you responsible for?
I was there after the account was created, exchanging messages. That was it. Was not my idea. As for the name of the email, was not what company to use.
Brendan's defense relied heavily on Juliana's own words from jail, as she wrote Brendan, Brendan's mom, and her family back in Brazil. The jury learned of Juliana's struggles with depression and anxiety behind bars, and her fears she would never get to see her family again. They got a glimpse into her anger, too. She was furious at her attorney for not being more responsive and for court delays. She was tired of being incarcerated. She began taking medicine to help her dark feelings. During the day, I just feel like crying, sad, depressed, racing thoughts, heart pounding, and I can't sleep, she wrote to Brendan in one letter. Sometimes Juliana waffled on their relationship, unsure what to do. Living in Brazil would not work out for Brendan, too. not culture, Valerie, his family, career, not anything, Juliana wrote in an email from jail. That's me getting this idea out of his head and telling him it's okay to move on with his life. But according to the defense, then her tone shifted. Juliana became focused on money and how she could profit from selling her story to the media. While on cross, Juliana testified about how the media helped fund her commissary so she could call her family internationally. Someday she might get a big paycheck as Netflix and other media outlets swarmed in on the sensational story they dubbed the au pair double murder trial.
March 4th, 2025, 2:41 p.m. Is this something that you wrote?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read the highlighted portion to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Yes, it says, what can you do, right? I had a video call with the producer who works with Netflix, and they want to make a movie or documentary about my case. And he explained in terms of compensation, money, etc. Things that Josh had denied, saying that don't do that, right? Anyway, he wants to finalize the contract already. So when I live here, we can have the interview and everything else. But they want to be exclusive, so I can talk only to them. It's worth it. They want to pay because they want to talk to you too in interviews, and you share photos, videos, facts from when I was a child, adolescence, etc. Things for them to add to the movie. So they were thinking about $10,000, which would be around $55,000 in our money. Helps and it's good, but I want to negotiate. I want more than this because if I sign the contract, I end up losing other opportunities to make more money. If I talk to other producers, etc., right? We have to think, I know I can make even more than $25,000. It would already be more than 100,000 in our money, right? Think about our future. What do we want to do?
During redirect, the prosecutor asked Juliana when she gets out of jail if she will be able to return to work as an au pair. Juliana said no.
And do you have any idea what it is that you're going to do for monetary support for yourself?
No, I don't.
And do you have family in Brazil?
I do.
And are those family in Brazil going to be able to support you?
No, not at all.
Is it fair to say that you became frustrated with the defendant before you ultimately entered your plea?
Yes.
And did you expect the defendant who came up with this plan to help you with your defense?
I did.
And how did you feel about this as you got closer and closer to trial and he wasn't helping you?
I felt alone. I felt that was being unfair for not helping when the whole point of him being in jail was because of his plan, what he had planned. And he was not the one paying my defense. And yes.
Juliana, how old were you when all of this began?
21, just turned 22.
And how old are you now?
25.
So is it fair to say that you're 22, 23 years old when this plan begins? Is it fair to say that you're 22, 23 years old and you've fallen in love with your employer at the time that this plan begins?
Yes.
And your employer is older than you are, is that correct?
15 years older.
And he's a law enforcement officer, is that correct?
Correct.
And is it fair to say that as this plan marched on, is it fair to say you're far away from home?
Yes.
And are you away from your mom, your grandpa, your other family members of support?
Yes.
And after you were arrested in October of 2023, you're how old?
23, I would say.
So, had you ever been in jail before?
No, never.
Had you ever been accused of a crime like this before?
Never.
Juliana, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Everything that you talked to me about yesterday,
Yes.
was that all the truth? Is that the truth?
It is.
Iris Daly-Graf is a forensic analyst who was called by the prosecution to testify about the bloody crime scene. Graf had begun her career in 1989 and worked for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations. She analyzed crime scenes from the bloodstain patterns to bullet trajectory and forensic animation. She got involved with industry groups and was president of the International Association of Bloodstain Pattern Analysis for 2 terms. In 2016, she and her husband started their own company that got hired by prosecutors, defense attorneys, or even private individuals looking for answers.
Bloodstains are common in any violent scene. So we look at blood and what blood does. Blood is a fluid, as it is in its natural environment in your body. And as a fluid, we can look at it in terms of the science of fluid dynamics. What do fluids do? That's what blood does.
As an expert witness in this case, Iris Daly-Graf looked at photographs and video from the Banfield's primary bedroom, as well as items collected into evidence from the scene. She read the autopsy reports, starting with Joe Ryan's.
Did you make any observations of the blood patterns on his left forearm?
Yes.
Okay. What did you observe?
I observed what appears to be small blood droplets on his arm in a somewhat linear distribution. Also observed transfer stains on his arm, in particularly 4 transfer stains that are roughly parallel to each other.
All right, so let's talk about them one at a time. Let's talk about the blood drops that you observed. And how are those blood droplets formed?
These would be blood drops falling from somewhere above. Again, blood drops falling or under gravity takes them down, and when they're circular, would mean that the blood is dropping straight down. So if it makes a circular stain, that surface was fairly horizontal at the time that the blood drops were deposited.
She said Joe's head appeared to have been moved.
So I see a flow that's coming down from the face that appears relative to the body, pretty much vertical, that is going from just in front of the right ear, basically, and then coming down towards the neck, more to the center of the neck, so that would have been upright at one point. So those are 2 different directions, but there are multiple flows. And just as a point that only liquid blood flows, dry blood doesn't move. So at the time the blood was wet, that indicates that portion of the head was in different positions. But each of those separately has to have occurred when that surface was more upright, that is, so that the blood flows down. So the direction of the flow was downward at the time the flow occurred.
And what did the different direction of the flows indicate to you?
That there were different positions while the blood was wet and flowing.
The expert testimony was technical, but the prosecution used it as ammunition in their case against Brendan. They said it was proof that Joe's body had been manipulated at the scene. The defense called its own bloodstain pattern expert, Leanne Singley, who argued that the droplets on Joe couldn't be from airborne blood. She said the blood pattern actually supported the theory that Joe stabbed Christine in the neck and then was shot by Brendan in self-defense. Joe then grabbed Brendan before he was shot again.
What Leanne Singley tells you is all of the blood evidence supports this. Ryan brought the knife. That'll be Commonwealth's Exhibit 10. The knife has blood on it with Christine's DNA on the blade and Ryan's DNA on the handle. Ryan has Christine's blood on his hand as well as a puncture wound, which the medical examiner says is consistent with the knife. And if you look at the knife, it's described in the certificates of analysis as testing underneath the handle by the edge of the blade. And if you look at the marks on Joseph Ryan's hand, the medical examiner states that these wounds are consistent with that knife.
What added a wrinkle into the police investigation, a fact the defense jumped on, was Detective Brendan Miller's abrupt transfer. Detective Miller was the forensic digital examiner who analyzed the electronic devices in the case. He had been moved to a different division in the middle of the Banfield investigation. His boss was concerned with his work. John Brush, who had headed the major crimes unit of the Fairfax County Police Department, testified for the defense.
What, if anything, did you say to Deputy Chief Freed about Brendan Miller to have him transferred?
I had indicated that as far as I was concerned, Detective Miller was not to work another digital forensic case that pertained to the Major Crimes Bureau.
Was there discipline associated with this decision?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were you disciplining him by moving him out of your area?
Absolutely not. I actually retained him in the child exploitation unit.
Okay, so where he is right now?
Yes, sir.
Investigators believed Joe Ryan had been catfished, that it wasn't Christine messaging him. But Detective Miller disagreed. Detective Miller analyzed the data from Juliana's cell phone, Christine's phone and computer, and Brendan's cell phone. Detective Miller believed there was no proof Christine lost control of her devices when the FetLife profile and a new Gmail account linked to it were created. But his boss disagreed.
And so his conclusions were not agreeable to you?
I wouldn't word that way.
How would you word it?
I would word it that his analysis was incorrect.
Throughout the trial, the defense kept bringing up Detective Miller as proof that police had blinders on and were just focusing on Brendan. They said Detective Miller was transferred because he went against his boss's theory.
Detective Miller spoke the truth, and you could see it. Detective Miller, his work was concurred by Mr. Litsky, who you heard for quite often during this period of time. And it was peer reviewed and it was concurred by someone, a third party. You heard Detective Miller say, that's never been done in Fairfax County. You heard him say, I didn't ask for that peer review. He didn't know who asked for that peer review. Why would you want a peer review of something if it wasn't for it to change? So once again, not happy with that, not happy with the work product. There's nothing to indicate in Detective Miller's background anything but stellar expertise. But he wasn't introduced as an expert for the Commonwealth. Now, this is where this whole theory went wrong. They discredited him. They disregarded him. And they didn't listen to him. And that's a problem. That's a problem for their case.
But the prosecution pushed back.
Why was there so much discussion and disagreement over the digital evidence? because it could never be that smoking gun. You all heard it from their expert. You can't put someone behind that screen unless you're sitting next to them. So as much as we want it to tell the story here, as much as we want it to be the perfect evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that this thing had to happen, the digital evidence just isn't that. We wished it were. It's not. And Detective Miller did nothing wrong, and Mr. Lidsky did nothing wrong. They just told you the truth. And the truth is that they can tell you what a device was doing, but they can't tell you who was using the device.
In this episode, you heard Juliana testify about Brendan's plan to kill Christine. But Brendan insisted he was innocent. He denied hashing out a scheme to murder his wife. And in part 2, Brendan takes the stand in his defense to tell his own version of the events that unfolded in his bedroom.
Have you discussed with your lawyer about testifying or not testifying?
Yes.
And after discussing it with him and considering what I just told you, is it your decision today to testify?
Yes.
And are you entering this decision to testify freely and voluntarily today?
Yes.
It's a courtroom showdown. That's next time in part 2. This episode was researched and written by Gabrielle Rusin. To hear these episodes without the ads and check out additional Court Junkie bonus episodes, head on over to courtjunkie.com/support. Thanks again for listening. Until next time. Raise your hand if you've been putting off some sort of doctor appointment. Maybe it's a dental cleaning or an annual checkup or blood work. Maybe something's been bothering you and you know you should get it checked out, but instead you just keep putting it off. Okay, my hand is up too. When something feels off with me, I tend to search for my symptoms online and then try to self-diagnose, which usually ends up in convincing myself that something is horribly wrong. Or I just incessantly complain to my husband and then don't do anything about it. Sound familiar? Well, this year we're doing things differently. We are finding amazing doctors for ourselves and booking appointments with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, primary care, eye care, or one of the other 200-plus specialties offered on ZocDoc, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you. You can book an in-person visit or a video visit, whatever fits with your schedule. Once you find a doctor you think you might like, you can check out thousands of verified patient reviews to give you a real sense of who your doctor is. Maybe they hate small talk just as much as you do, or maybe they root for your favorite sports team. Go Bears. When you're ready, you can see their real-time availability and click to book instantly. No phone tag, no waiting around. Appointments made through ZocDoc happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. Next time I need a doctor, I am using ZocDoc. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/court to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/court. ZocDoc.com/court. Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
I swear. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra.
Free.
This is the mindset. With movies like Interstellar, Dreamgirls, and Gladiator.
Are you not entertained?
And TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts. Pluto TV is always free.
Huzzah!
Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.